This conference will now be recorded.
I'm about to go to the website, so I won't use my phone.
You clicked on the link from your computer in your messages?
No, I don't have my messages coming to my computer.
Oh, you share that computer with your wife, don't you?
Nah, I don't. Even if I did, like I don't have no crazy text messages coming to my phone.
This conference will now be recorded.
Remember what was said.
I got you. So yeah, I'll go back and organize it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right. So this is what I was saying. When I'm looking at supply and demand zones, I'm looking at them like remove this. This was old. This was previous. Remove all that. Okay, so when I'm looking at supply and demand zones, this is what I was telling you. Like, okay, of course, this right here came up. So that right there, showed a slight demand zone especially when it came up off of it. So that's why it was even labeled. And at the time when it came into this zone right here, of course, it made the uptrend market structure that you see in the diagram that I always send you, right?
Right.
And that's on daily, came down here, made a low. When it tested again, it made a higher low. So that showed me like, oh, okay, this thing really want to go up. And so when it came here into it again, you could have went on, just bought it and went on up with it. So like once you recognize this, like, oh, okay, it didn't take out this right here, it didn't take out the low, and it actually respected it. So yeah, this thing is actually going to continue up. You could have just entered here after all this was formed. That's why I be telling you, like, hey, you can be patient that when it comes into the zone, if you can allow some of this to form to where you're recognizing it, like, okay, that didn't take this low out here. So that's respecting it. This whole candle came up, and when you seen it pulling back down into it, you could have just been buying it right up in here. You hear what I'm saying? But you have to be patient, and you do have to kind of like, pay attention to the market. You have to kind of watch for it in that area, all of this developing. Of course, each candle is represent a whole day. So, of course, this was like a whole 2-week little span, so it gave you time. And like you had to really just watch it all week. It's like, okay, within the 2 weeks, if you're analyzing on the weekends every weekend, then you seen enough, for it to show you this, and so you could have been in on it anyway. So of course, this formed the demand zone. You get what I'm saying? It trended up. Yeah, it did take this out right here. It took out this little supply level, but that was just a continuation supply. And when it continued on up, I seen that it fell short to take out this peak right here. You get what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, real. It must be some real sell orders there because it couldn't even take out this, but it did take out this. So when it came back there again, I would have been feeling confident enough to, pretty much buy it here. But what it did here, what it did there, and this is what you got to pay attention to, and it's so slight and it's so little that, it would go over most people's eyes. But when I'm really looking at this area here, I'm noticing that this took this whole level out by one peak. So if I really just put my mouse on this low right here, I'm seeing that it took out. You see this to the left? It took out that whole area. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
By one pip, and that matters because that lets me know that it wasn't orders there. Like it wasn't enough orders there. Like it was enough to make it rise up, But the fact that it broke it, it's not respecting its demand anymore. So the next time that it come, which is on its way, that's not gonna hold up. And then too, you know what I noticed? When it came here, even though it lifted up, and that would probably be good in some trader eyes, but to me in my education, I know that when it comes back here, that's gonna be the third time. What does our education say about the third time? That is low probability and it might break the area. That's what my education say. That's all. That's what I'm thinking about when I'm at these zones, Barry. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And also, if I follow the trend that it made up, it didn't take out nothing. It didn't take out this level. It didn't take out this level. So what this looks like to me, what all of this looks like to me is what a downtrend market structure. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it never did
There's
take
the
out
high.
the supply. Yeah.
Yes. On a downtrend market structure, when you look at that diagram, I keep sending to you over and over and over. There's the high of this whole little section here. Here's the high of it. Came up to test some of this area, barely made it up there, made a lower high. So there's the high, there's the lower high. There's that, when you look at that, let me show it to you. Forget that. We're gonna have to do side by side comparison because I want you to understand. I don't want nothing to go over your head because I'm not sending this to you in vain. Everything I send to you is important. We're gonna do a side by side on this. Forget that because you need to know. When we look at this, you see this? Even
Yeah.
though this is the diagram, is this. So this is the diagram, but this is how this diagram looks in real life, candles. So came up, higher high, came down, lower high. Boom, lower high. So that's what that says. Lower structure high was formed than previously. Signs of a downtrend market. Structure low was broken. This right here, broken. You get what I'm saying? Boom, downtrend market structure. So even though it came here in this zone, Barry, and lifted up, it couldn't even break the lower high of this lower high. You get what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
like even that is continuing to make it. Pulled down from this zone, came back up, couldn't break it at all. Still making, it's continuing to make downtrend market structure over and over. Every time it tests a high, it continues to not break it, forming this downtrend over and over. Came up, tested down, even though it came back up and tested this, still did not break. Well, hold on. Well, yeah, because the high right here. So let me kind of move this over so it's showing that it's looking like that. Okay, so just so you can fully see. Okay, so this right here was the high. Came up, did not make that. Broke. You get what I'm saying? Broke this structure low. Came back and retested. This is supposed to be your entry right here on this sale. It's supposed to have been the entry because if you had recognized this thing, it made a lower low. And when it came down, it broke this most previous low right here. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so that right there was just telling you downtrend market structure. That's why I'm always really throwing up. That's why I'm always telling you this, and I'm trying to help you identify just this. Like if you're recognizing your supply and demand zones really, really well. This is the other piece that you need to take in consideration in these zones. I need to be able to recognize downtrend market structure off the back Because if I do, I can take advantage of it. Even if you didn't sell it here, when it came back and tested and made a lower low and broke this, and if you were patient enough, even if you decided to buy it here, that's fine. But when you recognize that when you bought it here and you're managing your trade and you're in your trade, ooh, I'm in profit. But even though I'm in profit, I recognize that it did not take out this high. So that means that it is a risk of this coming down. Even if you were still in your trade and managing and then came down here and didn't take that out, that should have been saying, hey, let me exit this buy and more so set up if you come back and test this area that has formed that market structure, that downtrend market structure. If it comes back into this whole entire zone, which it did one more time, giving you that last little chance to take this, you was pretty much entering here. So that's why really all of your entries should be looking, you see this downtrend market structure, all of your entries should be here at the peaks. Even if it's an uptrend market structure, all your entries should be here at the valleys. You get what I'm saying? Because it's giving you chances. It created this was supply, but it created fresh supply, came back, tested that fresh supply, made another level of fresh supply, came back and tested that and formed that. So that right there was the whole education piece of your fresh supply. And the reason why I always bring up your education, because I've told you this in education, but it does take you to be able to connect the dots. And that's very understandable, because when I connected the dots, I formed this education together. So that's what I did when I connected my dots with my education. Okay, so what is basic education? Let's go into it right fast. And this is going to be under order flow. And that's because I've created this education and I've studied it and looked at it, and these are just my notes in type form, honestly. So it's not that I created the education, I just notated it very well, and so therefore it was an education piece when I look at it, honestly. Oh boy. Okay. But that's how God manifests though. He does it like that, honestly. Like you look up and you just have the shit. That's how he do. And his anointing is on you. And it's for this lane to where nobody really believes in him, but they believe in the money. Okay. Um, so this is my education piece. You see this level? It's forming a diagram structure. This is an order flow as well. You see how fresh order flow came here, made a supply level, retested it again, couldn't take it out, formed another supply level, came again to that first supply level, couldn't take it out, formed another. Boom, boom, boom. And it's honestly all over the place. Because even with the uptrend, boom, boom, boom. He always give you 3 times to take it in that zone. So even if you don't recognize it here, which is hardly going to be rare, because only how you enter it at this first is if you already set up there. But I just feel like that's taking too much of a chance when it's a lot more that can confirm this for you. When it comes there the second time and doesn't take that area out, that has proven to you that this thing is really going to happen in the uptrend. So that can be a confirmation. And if you need even more of a confirmation, when you see it pulls up, took out this candle here, came back into the zone, that was your third chance to get into this trade. This was the first, this was the second, this was the third. Even over here, when we're looking at the order flow, this was the first, this was the second, this was the third. You repeatedly make these over and over and over. Even if we're looking up here in this supply area, this was the first, this could have been the second, this is the third. You get what I'm saying? It continues to be fresh supply. So this goes to say again, you're like, Brittany, how do I get in the trade if it missed me the first time? Is it just gone forever? How can I get in during the week? You need to recognize that, okay, if it forms this supply level here, and on the way down, this is the supply that was formed most recently. This is where you need to be set up somewhere up in this area between this wick and the closing and opening of this candle. Came back to retest this area. If you was in a little low, then it got you in here. It did come back. You would have been in a negative some, but it came up higher into the wicks, and you could have got in there. That's like when the market has already taken off, and even during a week, this is what you have to recognize. Even if it's not in that zone anymore, you have to recognize that on the way down, did it create any supply level that you can get in as far as a continuation pattern? That's why that continuation is in your education. When it talks about market patterns and stuff like that, you have the peak, you have continuation, you have the valley, correct?
Mm-hmm.
This is just me connecting information on real live charts. This video is going to be so full of gems, and I hope that you watch it over and over, and I hope you download it, and I hope you save it, and I hope you really study it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
So if this came out of the zone and it continued down, no, I don't feel like I've missed out, because if it created this continuation base, then I'm just gonna have to set up at the most recent supply level, which this is the most recent supply level. So if I seen this most recent supply level, oh there. So if I seen this come down and I seen the most recent supply level, and even though it was down here, I would still label this whole area here. And if it come back into that zone, then that's where my sell would be. And then of course you was in it at the right time anyway, because it could just continue on down really, really well. Actually, this was 54 and it came on down to 50. So that was like 400 pips easy. So if you missed the trade here, once it formed this supply level, you could have been setting up at the most recent supply, and it came into that most recent supply zone and just went on tank.
so hey, I got a question. So on MetaTrader, and you're trying to set up in your zones, and they don't allow you to do it. Like how, like you have to wait to in order to get in. That
You
makes
got to
sense.
ask yourself, why isn't that allowing you? You have to make sure that if you're trying to sell, that is actually where it says market execution at, that you actually pinpoint that, and it's actually saying sell limit or buy limit. Sometimes it's just in the settings. You have to ask yourself that if the market is currently, this is where the market is currently trading at, right here where it's highlighted at, where this little side number right here is highlighted at. Obviously, it's right now, it's at 54.89. That's what's highlighted over here in this bubble. Boom, 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 right here, right?
Right.
So if you're trying to sell this, of course, you're going to have to sell it at a higher price than where the market currently is. So you have to make sure that you're selling this at a higher price than what the market already is if you're trying to set a sell limit. If you're trying to get in right now, then you might as well just hit market execution. But I don't really be caring for all that, because I have to be at a zone. Right? I
But
have
that
to be at a zone. But if it's a buy, you have to make sure if you're trying to do a buy limit, it has to be lower than where market is currently trading at. And so if you're trying to enter a price, this just depends on how you're trying to enter the price. If you're selling, it has to be higher. The price has to be higher than what the market is. If you're buying, the price has to be lower than what the market is. So a lot of times you just may be not really setting your settings right. So that's why I won't let you in. Or if the market is closed, the market does pause at 4:00 p.m. So if you're trying to enter in at 4:00 p.m. during a week, of course it is closed right now and it's going to open back up at 5. So it just depends on what's taking place at the time.
yeah. So even okay, let me ask you this, because I haven't done this in a while. Have you getting in on market execution? You just don't do that at all, right?
Because it's never, unless I'm trying to get in right here and this is currently where the market is, and I'm like, oh, okay, the market is exactly in the zone that I want to take it at. Yeah, I hit market execution. But if it's not like, I wouldn't try to sell this right now at this price right here, because I just feel like if I go down into time frames, which, if I wanted to enter in on this, I would have to go down anyway. If I'm gonna take it, then I need to be right up in this area right here then. You get what I'm saying? Because it already has formed market structure on the lower time frame, which I'm not gonna go no lower than 1 hour anyway. Like, if I gotta go lower than 1 hour, I ain't taking a trade. So if I can't be somewhere right up in here where the top of this downtrend market structure is, which is, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, if I would have sold it right here, this is pulling up back into the zone. But of course, it has broken all of this. So when it get back to this zone, it's gonna come on down. So it's like, if I can't take it somewhere up in here, through here, I don't want it then. You get what I'm saying? So if it comes back up into this area, yeah, I'm gonna sell it because it has already showed me downtrend market structure. You see this? Like, yeah, I could have sold it what the market currently is, but the fact that it's fluctuating back and forth, I just rather be at the top so I know what it's gonna do when it get there. What the market has shown me, I want to be here because it's automatically tanking from this area. I don't want to be down here because it's pulling up in these areas. Of course, it may be gone now, which I'm kind of mad as fuck right now because it's already gone. But of course, it may be gone now, and now it's coming on down to testing some of this. But what I feel most traders do is they let this confuse them. All 1 hour is just zooming in on what daily is saying. So even though this coming down, that don't make me want to start buying at some of these little areas right here, like this area. Hell no. You know why? Because when this pulled up, it didn't take out nothing. So I already know it's gonna come down way lower, somewhere up in here. So this would have really been a great sale opportunity because I could have got maybe about 500 to 400 pips, especially if you get down to this area here. But I don't want to buy it. See, you would have. This is the area you pointed out. Like, that's why I'm saying, Reggie. I mean, not Reggie. Barry. I can see that you're just going for any old supply and demand area. You get what I'm saying? Without really considering your rules. So we really zoom in on this. You're like, I'm gonna buy it here. It's like, okay, but when it rolls up there, it didn't take anything out. And this right here, if you're really looking at your patterns and really understanding market structure and can recognize market structure, you practice and study how to recognize it in the market, you wouldn't want to be doing this. So you seeing this one taken out and this is on a reset stone to continue down. So you would have seen downtrend market structure. So buying when in your vocabulary, especially not here. Now here, I still want to watch it to see what it does there because this had taken this out by 1 pip, so it may not be enough buy orders there to hold this. So this thing could definitely get lower than this area. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we'll see when it get there, But when it came down into this area, it didn't take out this, so that wasn't strong enough. And the fact that this low was taken out, that just says a lot. So I'm just more so to the downside. So to me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit and let's really see what's lower than this area, which this thing could definitely, it does have some, it could get down into some of this little 40, 48, 40, which column. Because the thing is that even though I'm seeing this little valley here on daily, yeah, that looks like a good, but because of 4 hour, you have to kind of scroll over a little bit. Don't want to confuse you, but we do go off order flow. And it is order flow up in here, this right here. So if I really, and I'm just going to zoom into this order flow that's right here. You see this order flow? Obviously, it's showing you a base, but it is a lot lower. So that's why I have those TPs there because I'm looking for the order flow. So if I really zoom in to see what the order flow is doing, not to confuse you, I just want to get over here and really see. This is the 48 area, which is, looking like really good order flow. So like somewhere right up in here. You just kind of want to be able to label that out. Because it's like, even though I see this whole little valley, it's just that that may be still a little low. And I just kind of want to see what it does when it gets here. And then I'll zoom back out to daily to really see this area here. And it looks like extra steps, but you just can't really. And it's like now I can just see. It's like now it's. Because like now I can see like how this right here has a little demand zone there. You know what I'm saying? And so I would be watchful, be like, hey, if this breaks this, then hey, this sale could really be a really good sale because it could go down to 48. And if it breaks that, then hey, then I guess we'll be down here somewhere. But I just have to let the market play out. You get what I'm saying? And this is like kind of like what if situation. So it's like if this breaks this area, because it did break it by 1 pip, because obviously it barely even held up for it, and it wasn't enough orders to take out any strong supply. So that's why I'm kind of like more towards the downside. But if it goes down, then you know we can be looking at some of these lower levels. I don't know if you really even paid attention to your Fibonacci. You probably feel like, ooh, that's advanced. It confuses me. But Fibonacci, I always put the little TP areas down here at the bottom, the 21, this 27% and the 61%. Because though this is like really all the Fibonacci is just the range of the market. You know what I'm saying? So it's only gonna just the range of the market is only really just saying, hey, if this was the uptrend and it got here, now it's coming from here, that it is possibility that it can get down here into low altitude of this whole entire trend down here. You get what I'm saying? So the fact that the TP zones, which is here and here, and even uptrend TP zones here and here, it really still hit in the same areas of the peaks and valleys. So if this is high altitude, and if this is low altitude, it wouldn't surprise me if the market was to start touching the price down in this area. That's all I'm saying. So, with the Fibonacci, of course, if it's a downtrend, you started from the top to the bottom, and it can kind of help you evaluate what to take profit at, which is like in this little area and in this little area, which is not a surprise because even without using the Fibonacci, we would say, hey, anyway, even without using the Fibonacci, we would look at this like, okay, this is the next little valley, so it's possible they could get somewhere up in this area anyway. So using the Fibonacci or not using the Fibonacci, you still would be kind of cautious, like, okay, if it breaks here, then this is obvious the next little area up in here. So that's like with using the Fibonacci or not using the Fibonacci. Of course, this is the next little area itself anyway. But all I was just trying to express to you is that even though I see these supply and demand zones, the reason why I've chosen these supply and demand, like this supply, this is still a relevant sale to me because I know that supply here was able to take out demand here. So when the market gets back to this supply, this is still a relevant good sale. I don't care how long it takes. It can take 4 weeks or a month. When it get here, I'm still gonna decide to sell it because this supply area was able to take out this demand area. You get it?
Yeah.
So
Hey.
that would be a very good sale. The reason why I would still choose to sell here is because when it comes to any demand that was over here, this area was able to take it out. And even here. So the supply that was here was able to take out all of this demand. with effortlessly. I mean, it just came down effortlessly. So it lets me know that orders, as far as bank orders and big money and smart money orders, they are still really, really heavy here because, of course, this is the origin. If we go back to our education, the origin is the beginning of the whole trend. Of course, the whole trend of this is the beginning of this whole entire trend. Of course, this is a very nice sell supply area because this is where it started from. But of course, it did make fresh supply. So if you missed it here, you could have got in at this area and still did it. But of course, these are relevant areas because this is the fresh supply area. And when it trended down from this area, it was able to take out this. Even if we weren't on, I just want to show you a whole entire different. Even if I went to FX, I'll go to USD CAD. Oh, because I seen the area in USD CAD that was stood out to me. The reason why I wanted this area here. When I gotta scroll over like that, I'll just go ahead and go to weekly so I can see it clear. Do you know the reason why I pointed out this supply area? Can you tell me?
Yeah, because is so it tested on the first supply, not right above the supply level right here. So it tested for the second time right there. So therefore, it's going back up to the third time. So the third time is lower probability. So I mean, the third time, like the third retest is weak compared to the first two.
Nah, that ain't what it's saying. A third retest would be in the same area. So if it came to this area 3 times, then that would make it weak. This right here is just fresh supply. But the reason why I did this, and that's why you got to make sure that you go back and study this and, tomorrow or tonight with something fresh. The reason why I did this supply level right here, because when the market trended down, came down, we following this trend down,
Mm-hmm.
it took out demand here. And that shows very strong. So even though it's heading back to the area, I'm like, this would be a nice area to really sell it at because it was able to take out demand here. And so
Market structure.
therefore, I'm only doing high probability areas to where it really was able to take out zones, The only reason why I have this one labeled right here is because it's origin, it's original. But this is a fresh area to where it made a lower low. When it came up here to test this, it couldn't take this out and it made a lower low. So that's why I marked it out. And even when it pulled back up here, it made a lower low. So it's fresh. But I noticed that when it came down, it was able to take out this demand here. So that lets me know that it's very strong and it's very high probability. Not that it tested the third time because it didn't test the third time. Not in that same area. So if we was to go down to it, it shows this is what I see. So now that this is, heading up towards this way, yeah, it did pull back a little bit, but if it get up into this area, somewhere up in this area from the close and open of these candles to the top of the wick, somewhere up in here, it's going to form a market structure. So I'll be able to see it and capitalize on it if I decide to trade it. But the reason why I pointed out this supply area is because when it trended down and came down here, it took out this demand that was over here. So that showed to be very powerful. Even when it created this zone here. It showed a trend market structure in the zone. That's what I'm telling you. Like, even though you can identify the zone, if it comes in and definitely makes this structure that's just gonna head up. But I wouldn't worry about the buy there because it didn't respect this. It took out this low. So I would be more on the sell, and that lets me know that when it comes back there, that it could definitely break this 130 area because it didn't respect this
Gotcha.
uptrend. I mean, it's gonna bounce a little bit, but not enough to just be saying I want to be buying here because it broke that. You just gotta pay attention. Trading is it's very detailed. You know what I'm saying? Like you just have to pay attention, but you're able to pay attention because it's not in your education. Everything that I've gone over in this video, I've referred it back to the education that you have. That's why I say read, Barry. That's why I say watch your videos, Barry. Because if you don't instill and program and keep jamming and putting that education into your head, when you get on the actual charts, of course you're going to be lost. You get what I'm saying? Because the information is not instilled in your heads to where when you're looking at this, you're taking in consideration all of these things. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
when I'm looking at the market, I'm able to, and this is not a script. This is me just going off free hand, just going over this with you. You get what I'm saying? And this is what comes to my mind, the education. And I'm able to always go into my education and pinpoint the exact area where certain things are. I'm able to always go into the exact information where that is in the education. I'm always going to refer it back to your education because, of course, I'm like, it's in your education. And I want to be kind of funny too because I want to be like, this is in your education. So if you're really studying and connecting the dots with it, and videos like one-on-one, it helps you connect the dots. So when you see me connecting the dots with your education, it helps you to connect the dot with your education. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So therefore, when you're asking me questions over and over, I'm like, I'm just gonna get on a video with you because I'm so kind and so nice, and you paid
Right.
me, and we have a friendship, and I might as well. And but I'm gonna always refer back to your education because I want you to know that this isn't anything I'm making up. You have the education, I have the education. I'm just really connecting the dots in the market. And that does come with time. But I believe that you can do it if you put your mind to it. But but yeah. And then so like what you recently said about a third retest. When it's talking about retesting and for a third time, what you was talking about in that market was completely wrong because it didn't go into that same zone. Now this is one time, this is two times, and when it comes back into that zone, that's three times. You get what I'm saying? That's the retest that it's talking about. You get what I'm saying?
I got you.
So when it's hitting into that same area 2 to 3 times, yes, that would be like weak, low probability. Even here, this zone, yes, when it comes back into this area a third time, yes, that may be considered weak because it has gotten into this same little block for the third time, which it may react some, but I just want to try to hold it. Sometimes you got to know like when to hold and when, and not to fold. But it did break a lot of demand there, so it may hold up, but it will be coming back into the zone for the third time. So with that being said, you would more likely want to just set up at the origin because the origin is a lot more high probability. But this area here, the only reason why I pointed out this area and even marked this area was because I wanted to show you the fresh supply. If you had missed it, the entry here, when you seen that it made this supply, you had just been setting up at that new order, at that new supply order. But I'm gonna delete this because I don't want to confuse anyone. Like I'm planning to take a trade there. No, I would take it here, but I was just saying that this had already been tested with this. So any orders that was there, it has pretty much collected them and caused this. But But yeah, so that's that. That's that. I mean, those are really like as far as what I've looked at it. Now, if USD CAD come to that 134 area, I'm not even on USD CAD, but I already knew the area that I was looking at, so that's why I'm able to shout out the price. When you come to that 134 area, that could be a very good trade. Um, Anything else, it's like, and that's what I was telling you. Let's go back to pound USD because this is where you wanted to. We was over here, and you were saying that you wanted to set up your buy here, and I was telling you like, okay, now that it's coming back to this area, now if it doesn't break that area, I mean, even if it breaks it by a pip, I wouldn't be trying to buy it. This is what you showed me yesterday. So this is all you seen. It wasn't even this far down yesterday. It was more like up here. This is the daily candle. This is today candle. So this candle opened up here. So this is what the price that today candle had opened up. So this is where it opened up yesterday, last night at 5 or 6 o'clock. So if it opened here, that's because I know how candles are labeled. So this is the open. This is the high. Right now, this is the low. And at 4 o'clock, wherever this ends up, that will be the close. That's because I know the diagram of a candle and I know how to, vary it. So this is where this candle open up. This is a daily candle. So this is like from today. So of course, price was here when when the candle first started, which was yesterday at 5. So this is where it was around the time that you were sending me things and saying that you would want to buy it here. If it can't take it out, if it doesn't take it out, definitely that would be a nice little buy. But of course, like I told you, it's gonna form that market structure. So if it doesn't take it out, then it should look something like this. It should look something like this to where it didn't take it out. Boot. It should form some candles that does this. You get it?
Because of the
So that would be your market structure. So once I see that this has broken, once I see that this has broken it, it's probably gonna. And I'm just going up because I'm looking at the supply area that it's gonna face on its way up. So if it even makes a little decline here because of this area here, because nothing is a surprise. I have a map to everything that's gonna face on the way up. When it comes back into it, this would be where I want to even attempt to try to buy it because it has already shown me that market structure. And I'm just gonna wait till that forms and then I can take it here. Ooh, you know, and it's gonna get some kind of decline there because obviously this is where a little supply is. And it's gonna be a nice little strong supply because what came from here took out this, took out that. So so yeah. So it may, decline a little bit, but if it's, it is a strong area, so they come there and really just go, you know. Who knows? But, that's what I would kind of be patient and wait. So right now it hasn't broken this area, but if we really zoom in, let's see. Right now it hasn't broken that area. Wow, it actually came right on to the area that I felt, when I looked at it for you because you sent it to me, I was like, yeah, okay. If it holds up here and it doesn't break any of this, if it doesn't break any of this, then okay. But it's gonna form some candles in this little format here, and then that should just let you know, like okay, let me just go ahead and buy it. You probably won't be able to buy it lowest here, but you might have to set up somewhere up in here. But at least you'll have all of that kind of like confirming, you'll have all of this kind of like confirming it for you, like, okay, this thing really is forming an uptrend market structure in the zone. But if it doesn't break this area, then yeah. But the fact that the market had been tanking, so I mean, it really has been tanking too. So when it's tanking like this and it's been breaking a lot of this, I would just let it prove itself to me by forming this uptrend market structure, which is, if it doesn't break this, that would be already forming it, that would already be kind of like forming this uptrend market structure. You get what I'm saying? It would
Mm-hmm.
already be, coming into that shape of it. So if it doesn't break it, then that'll let you know, like, okay, I can really buy this and I can hold it for some time. Because even if it comes all the way up here, that's like 1,100 pips. This would be like 500 something. So when I send you that market structure thing, this is what I'm saying. Be patient enough for it to start forming this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, let it continue to play this out. Because if it can't break it, then that right there is showing you, like, okay, it's making that uptrend market structure. It's actually making the uptrend market structure on the daily. So even if we were to go down lower to 4 hour, maybe kind of see some of the candles that's forming here now. Okay, nice little rejection, but this does mean that it's gonna kind of fill this in. But if it can go, it can go. Yeah. So, just let it kind of see. Let me see
So
the
you
candles 1 hour.
so we're going back on the 4 hour. Would you lower your buy limit?
Mm, see, I'm not actually in this trade. I had just kind of like analyzed it. It's not that I lower my buy limit, Barry. I'll be patient to let it form this on something. See, it haven't formed this on 1 hour or 4 hour. I slowly kind of see the whole bigger structure on daily, but I want 4 hour or 1 hour to show me this pattern out of this area. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if it's gonna trend up, there's no guess to it because it's gonna form just like it came into this area here. And this is 1 hour. So if I zoom in, this is what I'm telling you. It's gonna form this pattern. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Look, broke this structure high, came back into it, pretty much held up again, pulled back, held up again, pulled back, really took off then. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like it's no need to guess. And I don't wanna, yeah, you wanna set up because that's not your real money. You paper trading right now. But me, I would just have to be more patient and wait on I would have to be like a lot more patient. Let me just zoom back out because I don't even know where. Okay. Um, I would just have to be a lot more patient for this type thing. Cause see, you would have seen this and be like, oh B, I think I missed the trade. But I'm like, okay, it formed the uptrend market structure. Came here, made a higher low, then take it out, came up. It even took this out. So that let me know that was strong. So even when it came back and tested, you could have been at this order flow here and got into the trade there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's like that's what I'm saying. Like, nah, it's not that I would move my buy limit and just take it just because. I would wait on some of this to form out of that zone because that's letting me know that this thing is ready to go, especially when it took out this structure high. When it took out this structure high right here, I'm like, oh, okay, there's some orders there. So that's why people was buying this here. They played around before it really just took off. But if you was patient enough, you was in it when it took off. Boom, couldn't quite take any of this out, pull back. But when it came back, it did take it out. So that you knew right there that hey, the thing was ready to go. And that's why in this zone, I'm telling you, be patient enough to let this play out. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna give you a chance to catch it. But you have to be patient enough. No need of guessing. when it's here. You know what I'm saying? And it needed me guessing and just like, oh, I'm just gonna get in and hopefully because I know that I'm gonna have several chances to grab it. It's gonna form several demand levels. Just like I showed you with the first demand. It goes one. So if you didn't have it there, you could have had it here. You know? So it's just like it gives you those areas of fresh supply. I mean, well, in this case, demand. It gives you those areas to catch it because even in this area where you seen it did this, it came right back into it. Even got lower, but if it didn't stop you out as far as your TP or whatever, I mean your stop loss, you still got into it at this same level too. So it's gonna give you so many chances to get this trade. You're not gonna miss out just because you aren't automatically set up. When it starts rising up and it's forming that uptrend market structure, it's gonna give you several chances to be able to get into this trade. And that's what I keep sending you. It's like, okay, Barry, obviously you are very good at finding your supply and demand zones. Yes, you can identify them. Are all of your supply and demand zones high probability? No, but they should be from now on because I've told you how to kind of weave those out. If that supply and demand zone didn't take out when it trended up or trended down, if it didn't take out, if you identified it as a demand zone and that demand zone didn't take out any supply, then that's not one I want to be buying at the next time because it's probably going to get lower to find more orders. If you identified a supply zone and that supply zone didn't take out any demand, that's not one that I want to be set up when it returns. You get what I'm saying? I want to look a little higher, and because it's going to look for more sell orders, and that's beyond that point because it didn't take out anything. Now, if it's an area that took out, if it's an area that took out some supply, then yeah, when it comes back and start retesting these demand levels, this order flow here. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I wouldn't mind buying it because it was taking out some supply. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Because even with this, even though it wasn't taking it out, you still are banking that this is like weekly, daily demand, though. You get what I'm saying? And it already has proven itself to want to come on up out this area, and it wasn't making, even though it wasn't taking out this right here these times, but it sure wasn't taking out demand, so it wasn't even getting anywhere near the low of this demand. So that right there just was all kind of signs like, okay, let me just continue to trust my analysis and trust my education with this demand and just continue to buy it, even though the market is trying to trick people, especially on 1 hour. And it can look like that on 1 hour. Does it even look like that on 4 hour? That's why I don't even like to go down that low. Nope. Because even when it came back down into here, it made this, but when it came back down, it showed that it broke this level right here. You get what I'm saying? So this right here show a break in that it broke it by a few pips. So when it came back down into it, it was like, hell yeah, I'm buying because it broke this most recent supply level. So it wanted to get all the way up. You're weak out of that zone. So it's like when something weaks down like this, you see this whole week right here?
You said the
When you
whole.
see something weak this
Okay.
week, if you know the definition of a candle, the description of a candle, you know that this is a wick, right?
Oh, you said weak. Okay, I didn't understand
Wick.
the computer was breaking
WICK.
up.
Wick.
Yeah, no, the computer was breaking up. I didn't know what you were saying.
Yeah. So when I seen this wick down and I'm already in that intended direction, when I'm already in that intended direction and I seen this wick down like that, it's like, yeah, that's just gonna go back up and fill. Cause it's like it wants to go up and it's gonna feel this. So when you seen that it came down, you could have just continued to start buying in this demand area and it just went on, came on out of it. And it broke supply right here and it broke supply right here. So to let you know, even though it came back down, even if you wasn't in it, the fact that you had seen all of this occur, that you should have still been confident to buy. And boom, then it broke this supply. And it even came up here to test this. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's testing it down, because the thing about it is when you're in these weekly, daily, monthly areas, it's gonna take a minute to work itself out of that zone. You get what I'm saying? But it's doing it. So it's if you're catching it early, that's why I'm always telling you like even if you caught it somewhere down here, you're gonna have to be very patient with your trade because this was a Tuesday. Here's another Tuesday, so that's 1 week. And I'm looking down here at the very bottom in this black part. Here's another Tuesday, so that's 3 weeks. So to really get to even get 300 pips on this pound USD, you had to be in this trade 3 weeks. You get what I'm saying? And you may have to be patient like that. If that's a trade that you're in, and that's what you invested into that decision and that trade in this market, if you got to hold it 3 weeks to get 300 pips, so be it. Because at the end of the month, at least you have collected 300 to 400 pips. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So overall, it still added up for you. If you're a professional trader and a good trader, you want to be able to sit back on your trade like that so you don't have to be in and out the markets and trying to find a trade every week and shit. Like you want to be able to like, hey, if I can hold it 3 weeks, that's a laid back trade for me. I'm sure once it's all the way up here anyway, you're risk free. So it's not like you're gonna take a loss on it. So it's like if I can hold it 3 weeks, that's a laid back 3 weeks for me. And maybe you had $10 a pip on that. So you're up $3,000. And so if that was just one of your trades for the month, then that's one trade that earned you $300 worth. I mean $3,000 worth of profit. And I'm sure that you probably took other trades. They may run at $10, but they probably was at 5 or 4 or 3, whatever your account could handle. And just let that be that. But you don't have to be all over the place. You can really be patient with your trades. Because if you really trust the analysis, then it's gonna work out. And that had actually got up to 123. So overall, it got you about 300 pips if you just held on. So if you enter here, I'm looking at the very bottom where it says August 12th, somewhere up in here, August 12th, and it got here August 27th. So using that trade from August 12th to August 27th, you see what I'm looking at, Barry, down here
Yeah. I see.
from the dates. So if this where you entered in that trade August 12th and you didn't exit until August 27th, why would you have known to exit?
You said how?
No, I'm talking to myself.
Oh.
Talking to myself. I'm gonna put this right here just so I can see was it forming on 1 hour at least. Was it forming downtrend market structure so that you can know to exit? Yeah, it did. It rejected in this area. It came back up, came down. This right here, it broke this whole demand area. Just this one candle right here broke this whole demand area. It came back up into it. So when you seen that right there was kind of showing you that downtrend market structure. So that's how like you have to pay attention to enter trades and also to exit trades. You have to pay attention because if you don't see any strong demand that's going to help you continue up, there's no need of trying to just continue to hold that trade. So when it comes to entering and exiting, because of course, even here, it formed supply and it came down, couldn't break it, but it rose back up. I mean, it means just a lot of warnings to say, hey, this thing might want to get back down. So it's like, even when you're entering and exiting your trades, you just kind of want to pay attention to that market structure that's forming, because that'll let you know as far as entering and exiting, So that's why you always have to manage your trades very well. You just can't be all lackadaisical, letting 3-4 days pass by and be like, oh, I was in a trade, let me look at it. But of course, is different when it's your real money. You're not forgetting that shit is going. You get what I'm saying? Because when it's your real money, you're probably like way more attentive than you are on a paper trade.
So did
You're
you
not.
as a trader, did you get more patient when you put your money in? Were you more patient versus on the demo account?
Yeah, like when it was when it was paper, I wasn't as hesitant and I wasn't really considering all of the rules. But when it was my real money, I made sure that it was very calculated. You get what I'm saying? Like, I considered all the rules. Like, I wanted to check off. Like, okay, if this is the supply area, I made sure I went on qualifies. I went to the section. Like, when I analyzed, I was analyzing in front of my book. So even if I seen a supply or demand level, I made sure that I took out qualified supply and demand and read the rules on this area, and to make sure that this would be considered a qualified area. And then when I was trying to find an actual entry, I made sure I went to the order flow section when it comes to finding my entry with my book in front of me as I'm analyzing. I'm not analyzing the now I can analyze without my book because the information isn't sealed. But when I was learning and studying, I'm analyzing with my book in front of me. So when I'm identifying a zone, I'm on the section qualified supply and demand so that I can repeat the rules to me as I'm identifying the zone and even considering this zone as far as supply and demand. Now that I know the area, okay, I need to find an entry. I know entry has a lot to do with order flow. So I'm going to the order flow section and I want to read the rules on order flow and identify that entry precisely. You get what I'm saying? And that way I'm considering all the components. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That make a lot of sense. Basically, when you put your money
So
in, it got real. More real.
it's real. And I'm not playing around. I'm not trying to analyze just so I can send something to my mentor, because I was sending my charts to him too. And when he would come back and correct me, I would go back and look at the chart and try to see why he felt that way. You get what I'm saying? And so normally it was because I wasn't following the rule, and he just knew the rules. Like, he knew all of the shit. So when I seen that he can quote the rules and tell me what the rules was without looking at his studies or information, I'm like, okay, this let me know that this nigga, he know this shit in his head. So therefore I just started pounding, reading that way I can quote that shit without even thinking about it. You get what I'm saying? And that way when he talks to me, I can visualize it in my head without having to be on my computer. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, when I recognize that this nigga is good because he really know his information, like, that shit is in his head. He ain't having to scramble and go find it like me. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
that let me know what my mindset had to be. Like, oh, this nigga quoting this stuff because he know it by heart, like saying a speech. You get what I'm saying? If you ever took Miss Harris, I don't know if it was Miss Harris or Miss Henry, but we had to learn the Constitution. This is the Constitution of the United States of America, our forefathers, that bullshit. Like, it was like I wanted to make sure I can memorize it and quote it. You get what I'm saying? Like, so it's certain stuff that you just remembered because somebody made you memorize that shit. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So therefore, when I seen that my mentor could be washing his car, playing with his son, driving, on vacation, and if I call him, you got a minute to talk, Sean? Yeah, I got a minute to talk. When I seen that he was quoting that information, he'll be busy as hell. But he was quoting it to me, not even in front of it. I knew then that, okay, this man knows this stuff like the back of his hand. He just knows the information. And so therefore he always can quote it. He always can refer back to it. And if I ask him something, he's telling me what section to go to, what video to go to off the top of his head because he know where it's located. That's just something that he knows. So I knew that if I didn't know this stuff to be able to quote it or to be able to just even follow along in conversation, then you know what I'm saying? Okay, I need to step my game up. I've been playing. It lets you know where you are. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So of course, when you're listening to me, I'm automatically just, like we're on this video now, and I'm like, okay, this is the structure that I'm trying to form. If I'm automatically just pulling this up, like, look, this is the structure I want you to identify, which I made this same structure over here. And I'm saying, hey, even though we are in the zone, if it's not forming this right here, then just hold off, like don't just automatically set up there. Because then if you just automatically set up there and it breaks this whole little zone, now you done took a loss for no reason because you could have been a lot more patient, waited on this market structure to form because it forms in zones. It's all over the charts. It forms in zones when the zone is up to par, when the zone is qualified. So when that zone is qualified, then it automatically just lets like, hey, I can really, take this trade because it has shown me that it really want to pull out of this zone. And that's why I told you, just remember when the higher the low is taken out, that's confirmation this direction is legit as fuck. If I'm looking at a supply level and I see that this is taken out, when I say taken out, if it come down here, if when this is coming down, if it breaks this area, this is what I mean by breaking. So it's getting lower than the original low that was formed. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that shows me that it wasn't holding up. The fact that it didn't break it and it actually made a higher low than before, that shows me, and it comes and breaks whatever supply is sitting there, that shows me that the uptrend direction is legit as fuck. And I can really just, what I'm saying, really just go ahead and buy this at this time, like without issue. Because it's really gonna just pull off. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that's
I
why
agree.
I'm constantly telling you, like, if it breaks the zone, just like this. So you could have seen this, and the fact that this has pulled up, you could have been like, okay, Brittany, I want to buy this because this had pulled up. So when it got here, it didn't respect this level. It broke it. You get what I'm saying? That's what I mean by breaking it. It broke the price of this low. So the fact that it broke the price of 12100 did not respect it. That's a no. But now if you had set up here, for a small buy or something, and seen this, I would say okay because it didn't break it at all. You get what I'm saying? So when it came down here to test this supply level that had formed, and the fact that it had broken this right here, and also had broken this area right here, you know what I'm saying? It may have didn't break this top, but it did break up in here. When it came back down and it didn't break this area, it's like, okay, I can see you buying this now. Pulled up a little bit, gave you a chance when it came back close to the area, right here. Tested it a lot of times and it didn't break it. You get what I'm saying? It kept forming higher demand. But as it's trending up out of these zones, it kept breaking supply too. So all of that just identifies it. So all this right here is just showing you is the uptrend market structure, is it not?
Yeah, because it keeps breaking on the from the market structure
Yeah,
diagram, keep breaking.
exactly. And this is the area that it broke right here. So even when it formed this, say if you late as hell and you didn't even catch it right here, but this right here really broke that structure. You know what I'm saying? It really broke supply there. It came all the way back down to this demand level. So even if you was anywhere like right up in here, you was good with it, with that order flow that was right up in there. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like you could have been buying this, came down. It didn't take this supply out, but when it came down, it showed and took out the demand. This was your more dominant direction, but when it came back, it definitely took it out then. Correct?
So if you was in a trade, just say if you bought down here um in the demand, not in the zone, but right where you had the trend line at, if you bought right there and you brought it all the way up from demand to supply, would you, far as a managing question, would you have taken lots off, or would you have like pretty much gotten out and got back in?
Um, the fact that I know that that it's gonna come back too close to my entry, I would just go ahead and just take them off, and I would just go ahead and grab it again. It just depends on I'm trying to build my account up. But if it's gonna come back down so close to my entry, you know what I'm saying? Then it's just not worth. You know what I'm saying? It's not worth getting many trips back to my entry. So I might as well just start. You know what I'm saying? Like either ping pong it, boop boop boop. Which is risky trading to me. But
You said
I
ping
would
pong
say
and what now?
I was
I,
saying that if you
I,
had bought it here and it came, you know what I'm saying, it got up here
yeah.
and you didn't even adjust your trade, like you didn't take lots off, you didn't get out or anything. It came back so close to your entry, and it came back so close to your entry several times. You know what I'm saying? At this point, it would just be best to get in at 121 and really just start, you know what I'm saying, really just start exiting at 121.89, which is only like 80 pips anyway. So it's kind of like, I just don't feel like them trades be worth it, man. But but it was showing itself to prove, you know what I'm saying? It was showing itself, proving itself at first, but it really just came on down and just violated this whole little area. So it was just too much to really risk, you know what I'm saying? It coming back too close to my supply, too close to my entry. So when trades coming back too close to my entry, I just go ahead and take my profit because I'd rather see what you do when you get back to the area that I entered in. And if I feel like I should take it, then yeah. But if it's showing me like downtrend market structure, which it did start to show, because it started breaking demand levels at that point, like this right here, when it didn't form, when it didn't take out supply, when it came down here, but then it started breaking, this right here broke like several demand levels. You know what I'm saying? It broke demand here. It broke demand here. Just with that one little nudge. Even with this candle alone had broken this level of demand as well. So it starts to show you like little signs like, yeah, let me go ahead and take my money because this right here is showing me downtrend market structure. So it's like when I say manager trade, I'm saying manager trade by moving your stop loss to risk free. Yes, but also manage your trade by watching the structure of the market to make sure that this thing is not turning around on you. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So when I say manage your trade, I'm saying manage your trade because you need to know how to exit your trade as well if the market is showing you something different. So that's what I'd be really meaning. But also moving your stop loss from having a risk to actually making it risk free, which is normally about like 10, 15 pips above your entry. You know what I'm saying? So if you entered at like this right here has a buy of 120.35, you can, if your stop loss was here 30 pips below it, once you're in profit, even a slide, even like 50 to 60, 70 pips, you need to be moving this up from, if your entry is 120.35, then you need to be moving it up to at least 120.50 at least, you know what I'm saying? That way
Right,
that you profit something, and if the market comes back on you, you're not just taking a loss and you actually seeing profit,
right.
which
I
is
think I've been doing a pretty decent job at managing because like once I do get into profit, I go ahead and move my my stop loss up.
mm, okay. Um, but yeah, I'm just seeing what his oil trade is right now. And that's why most people would have seen it. They would have seen this right here moving down and just got in where it was when I'm like, nah. Because I already see, like, anywhere up in this area is pulling back up. So I'm not trying to sell nowhere in the area to where the market is obviously pulling up. I'd be more likely to want to sell here. Because, of course, this has formed downtrend market structure. So I would definitely want to be in a sell here so that it can go ahead and fall on down. I can be in that, and it's actually giving people plenty of chances to sell this in this area. And that's why I'm always telling you, like most people, the fact that they had seen this traveling up, they were like, okay, where am I gonna get it in demand? Some people automatically just set up a buy here without even letting it come in and form anything. So when you seen that it's even in this area, and even up in here, when you seen that it's in this area, if it's not forming uptrend market structure, then no, ain't no. Because in my eyes, I'm like, this thing is forming a downtrend market structure to keep breaking these demand levels, not taking out the high. So when this pull back up here, I want to be in it because it's gonna do this. You see that?
So far as like building an account, uh, would you advise if someone was trying to build an account to go ahead and jump in on a buy until it get back up to that sale limit?
Hell no. Hell
Okay,
no. You wanna know why I said it? It's
why?
too risky. It's too risky, man. Even the bigger time frame. This 1 hour. So you gonna play
Oh,
around. You gonna play around on 1 hour
I didn't realize it was on 1 hour.
but even 4 hours making a downtrend market structure. You get what I'm saying?
I got you. Yeah, I see it.
So if your education is saying sell, 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 it's like I don't want to be nowhere near buying because especially on oil, hell no, that's just not the direction I want to be in because it's gonna get wiped the fuck out. Just even this little small movement, if it get here to the 155 area and this thing fully just tank and even go down here to the 153, that's 200 pips by itself. And if they're not using a stop loss because they're not educated enough to even know about it or how to calculate a risk, that little 500, 300 account is gone. So if the market automatically dropped 200 pips on you and you was trading at $5, that's $1,000 quick
Go.
gone. But because you talking about you building an account, I'd rather be here and take it down here to 50 and collect me 500 pips, you be trying to waste going up here. Let's look. I'm gonna explain this to you. Not to even be harsh. I don't mean to be sounding like mean.
No, you good. I was just asking.
Yeah. It's like yeah, you would have bought this though. This is at what price? 54, 51?
Mm-hmm.
Only to take it 50 pips up. 50
Yeah.
to 60 pips up. You get what I'm saying? Compared to if I sell it, I can collect 500 pips. But me buying it, I want to buy it so bad that I only collect really 60 to 70 pips. Not worth it. The math don't add like that. Like that don't make sense if you really do risk to ratio. You know what I'm saying? Risk to a reward ratio. It's like, nah. Buy it, set up a 30 pip stop loss, trying to buy it to only really collect 60. That's only one. That's only 1-to-1 risk to reward. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're really you're risking 30 pips only to make 60. That don't make sense. So I wouldn't even be bothered with the buy. What I would be bothered with is the sell, because that sell though, man, even this area right here is at 52. That's at the 55 area. That's 300 pips. And if it break this area and come down here to the 50, 51, 52 area, you know what I'm saying? That's more like 500 or 400 pips. That's just a lot more worth it. And if you're trading at $5, that means that you have about $2,500 just off that one sale into your account now. That's a better bill. Like if you're building an account, it's gonna be best to be high probability and smart with it. Let me hold this to collect 400 pips, and then I make $2,500 off this trade instead of worried about them little 60 pips trying to buy it. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Up to this sale level. It's like nah, bruh. I don't even got nothing on my thing lower than 1 hour. There's a 30-minute, there's a 15-minute. Why? My education doesn't teach me to trade like that. So I don't even, hell no. And to be honest with you, I'm just hitting undo. This will take off this, so because it's like blocking the just hitting undo to erase what I previously drawed on the chart. I'm just right clicking to pull that up too. Hell no, that shit key. Ooh, man. I get excited. Cause it's like you coming right back into this little area though. And I'm finna say but yeah, and yep, I just wait on it to get here. Cause the area that formed here, the supply area that formed here, look at this. And that's like the prettiest downtrend market structure. Like when you start recognizing that downtrend market structure, and it'll get you excited. Because you already know what time it is. And even if we go to daily, the only reason why I'm excited because it's like I still can really, we on a new month too. Let me look at that last month candle. This is like the second or the first, ain't it? Yeah. So this last month, so this is a new candle for this month. This last month, look how weak out it is. Hell yeah, we going back down here. We weaked out, so we want to feel that. We already in downtrend direction. When it came here, it made a lower high. Didn't quite get up there. And then when it came down from this area, it actually broke this by a pip. So yeah, I was down the selling side because even monthly screaming that. Yeah. So that's that monthly candle for last month. This was August month candle right here. Now we in that September candle.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the sale definitely will be on that.
Yeah, that's why you got to be careful. You can't let the fact that you building an account make you think stupid, because your account will build much faster just trading how you trade. Like if I
Okay.
know on the higher time frame side, my account will build up much faster because I can hold this for a week or so and have $2,500 one week, and that's adding to my account. Now even if I funded my account with $500, and now I've made 200, I mean 2,050, $2,500 on one trade. Now my account is at $3,000. Now I can trade at one lot, or I can trade at a lot five, $15 per pip now. You get what I'm saying? And now my trades are banking way more because I'm getting $1,500 per pip. I mean per 100 pips. So if I'm getting 200 pips on a trade, that means I'm getting $3,000 on that trade now because I'm making $1,500 per 100 pips that I make in the market. If I'm teaching you how to have, if I'm teaching you how to make 500 pips on the trade, then it's like, yeah, that goes into a whole another ball game. It's like your account so easy to build up if you don't try to just be all, just all over the place with it.
I
1,500
got you.
times
So now
500. Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with I'm gonna I'm gonna stick with oil with I say trading with oil, and then that'll be a futures, and then I see which forex. But I guess continue to analyze other charts, but really, like maybe just grab one or two futures.
I mean, the only one you're gonna be able to afford is crude anyway. And, I mean, it's oil.
Yeah.
CL is short for crude. Um, as you can see, light sweet crude oil. I call it.
Uh,
That's what my first education called it. So crude oil. But this the only one you can afford right now anyway.
yeah.
So the only one that you can trade, which isn't bad because it's a great market. It can definitely get you to where you want to be, but you have to make sure that you are ready. You get what I'm saying?
I gotta make sure that I'm what now?
You gotta make sure you're ready.
Oh, ready. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you gotta make sure you're ready because, as you can see, in Forex, it takes 3 weeks to collect 300 pips. Over here, it may take one day.
Yeah.
Just even this drop, and this happened Friday, to where, it was doing this. And it made that structure, came up, made that lower structure, came down here, broke this level. So when it pulled back up into that area, it tanked. Same downtrend market structure. That's why I keep telling you, like, Perry, you identified the zone. If you're patient enough to let this form and you can take advantage of it, boom, you're good. But you got to wrap your head around putting that second piece on supply and demand. You get what I'm saying? Like, okay, now I recognize the zone. I acknowledge it. I recognized it. I identified the supply and demand zone. I'm gonna allow market structure to take place within the zone. Boom. If you can keep those two pieces together, you're good. You get what I'm saying? Um, Cause even Friday when it did this right here, and this is Friday. See right here in the black. I know that this is Friday. But I know it's Friday because I watch this market. I look at it every day. I don't go on skip days. But but yeah, so this happened Friday right here. I was occupied, but if I was free and not occupied, I would have seen that. Boom, boom, boom. I would have seen all this occur. You woke up to it. This happened like it reached this at 2 in the morning and started pulling back up into this area, but you had to see that it broke this demand area. Yeah. You had to see. Like you gotta just like when you study, you studying with intent now because you studying certain information. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when you study, if you're studying to recognize these things, you'll recognize that, boom, that didn't take out the high, came down, broke that demand level. There go the structure right there. And let it confuse you. This is just on 1 hour. Came back into the zone. All of this. The zone of making this lower supply level. Came right on into that. When it came into that zone, it tanked and did not turn around. Came all the way down. Came from 56 to 56.60 down here to 54.55. So that was like almost 300 pips, close 280, 260 pips. Just Friday alone. Shit, Friday by 10 a.m. So that didn't even take down. It took like an hour or two to even get down there. But yeah, when you're studying to see this in zones, that changed the game for you. Because it's like, okay, now that I'm identifying my zone, if I really just pay attention to the market structure being in the zone, all of this is in this zone. When they got there before, so you know what I'm saying? So when they
Right.
got back there, once it showed you this structure in the zone, you knew that it was time to pull this bad boy because it had showed you market structure within the zone. I mean, it just does that. It just does it. So even with this, came here, formed this right here. This camera couldn't take out that. Even it had broke this entire area here. Came back into it. It just came on down. It didn't return. It returned it here. Came back into that same little area where it broke that structure. Boom. Like when you study and you start studying with intent for looking for market structure like that and making sure that that market structure is in a good, strong zone, supply and demand zone. Yeah, you just got to piece all of that together. Like all of that have to go together in your analyzing. Like I'm gonna analyze. I'm gonna start on monthly. I'm gonna identify the strong zones. Is the market in one of these zones right now? No. Okay, next market then. But if I'm on a market and I identify a strong zone on higher time frame, whether it's monthly, weekly, or daily, is the market in that zone? Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to be patient to see if it forms market structure in that zone. If it does, what kind of market structure? Is it an uptrend market structure or is it a downtrend market structure? All right. Now I know. So you just have to study with intent and study for that kind of watchful eye. So I'm sure this video is long as heck. So I'm going to download it and I'm going to send it to you. I guess I send it through email so that you can download it on your computer and actually save it to a folder of your choosing.
All right. So when you send it to me, I go in and see about doing it. If not, then I'll just text you and let you know like, hey, okay, how you?
Download it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got the download, but I guess I have a folder with matter of fact, I have an
Because
additional.
when you download, it's going to be under downloads, and so from there you're going to tap it, rename it, and it's going to give you the option to put it in some kind of folder or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
So you either drag it over to iCloud Drive, create a folder for it, and that way that it saves your actual computer so that when I clean mine off and I start deleting videos, you're not still connected to the shared video that I shared. You know what I'm saying? Like you downloaded it and put it in your own personal files.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Okay. So yeah,
But if I would have did it, I wouldn't deleted it before you had it though.
it's all good. Like we stated earlier, is man, we just gotta, basically start over here now. Like where I am now, I'm not even where I was then. So pretty much you pretty much summed up all the videos in one. into this one, and we all good.
Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure that, you can understand why I keep sending you that same diagram. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like every time you send me something, the same diagram. Like, yeah, I know you want to automatically just set up, but you gotta be patient to let this thing form market structure in that zone, and then you can jump on it to set up. You know what I'm saying?
right,
At
right.
the most, at fresh supplies, the fresh demand in that zone. So, that's just key. I just want you to be able to connect these things and connect the dots, but also connecting in your education with the charts. You know what I'm saying? So keep studying and keep reading so that you're able to quote this stuff to me and anybody else.
I
And
got
everything is not so fresh and so new to you at all. Another thing, yeah. So when we click on this right here, it's automatically putting us into the settings of it. Just right across here, it has appearance, and so this right here lets you change the color and anything you want about your charts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Whether you,
I actually did that before. Like, 'cause I haven't
yeah,
did it in a while.
whether you want the background black or you want the black background white. You know what I'm saying? I like mine white because I'm just able to see better. But it allows like because even if you change it to black, even if you changed it to black and then then fill up, fill down, like all of that right there just allows you to be able to like change your candle color or whatever. So like then
Yeah.
it allows you to just change that, and even like the dojis or whatever that could be white now, so it started pointing out there, and it even have like where's the border, like my border is black, but I would change it to white, and it'll start like pulling out the candles and shit. So like that allows you to be able to see and switch it up or change it up if that's what you wanted to do. But of course, just to kind of add this in this video so that you know this. Um, and that just goes into way more colors. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, you can't be afraid to play around with this thing though, cause oh shit, I hit some. Yeah, you can't be afraid to play around with it, cause hey, you have to do it regardless. Anything could happen to me, and you need to be able to do this independently. Yeah. So, of course, with me, I want everything to be independent. So I want you to always feel like, stuff is independent. Um, when it comes to finding a trade during the week because the market has already moved, that's pretty much just finding fresh order flow, fresh supply, fresh demand. If it was created within the move, you'll just have to set up at that fresh supply and demand. That's within order flow as well. So just make sure you read and make sure you study and make sure that you're able to follow along when I'm talking, and just make sure that you're programming it so deep and instilling it so much into your head that when you look at the charts, it's all you see as well. You know,
I got you.
and you'll be good. Like you just can't be lackadaisical with it. Not at this point. You got to make sure that you're ramming it in your head. You can't afford to skip days. You can't afford it to do
Yeah, no,
a lot right now because you can't put that much pressure on your mind. Like your mind has to focus on one thing. So you just got to make sure that you're not consuming a bunch of riffraff and stand with your education and not what these other people doing. You know what I'm saying?
oh yeah, I
And
don't
that
even
like they getting that bullshit. You getting real deal. Like this works, and
trust me.
you can even see that it works even in your paper trading. Especially if I give your ass a trade, it work out.
Yeah, but even with that, like I ain't been more listening. Nah, I don't really do that. But I will say I feel like this video right here is the video that I needed to go ahead and at least take me to another level.
Mm,
Based off of what it is that you told me, like, okay, I'm missing this step. Like you was telling me, okay, you got this step, you got the order flow, you got this. It just goes back to other stuff like, okay, hey, once you get the market structure down, I already have the order flow aspect right now. But once once I go in and fully dissect this video again, and really, yeah, I think this is gonna be a difference maker. This video right here, for
yeah,
real.
most definitely. I really feel so too, because you just gotta put them together, supply and demand, add your order flow and add your market structure in it. Know when to use them. Know, what I'm saying, just know qualified supply and demand. Make sure that the area of supply and demand has taken out something that's helping confirm that direction for you. Like just start connecting these things when analyzing, and you'll be good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm excited about this video right here. I mean, I've been excited about all of them, but I think this one right here is the push you over the edge video right here.
yeah, most definitely. I definitely think it's gonna be. So just study it. Try to look at it either tonight or tomorrow. Just keep,
Nah, it's gonna
fresh.
be it's
Most
definitely
definitely.
day. As soon as I honestly, I'm about to cut the grass, and once I'm done cutting the grass and shower, then